All right, let's talk about FOMO, the fear of missing out. I'm gonna give you a bunch of strategies in this video on how to overcome FOMO, but also I want you to understand that if you have this kind of emotional response of comparing yourself with other people's lives and not being connected to them in pretty much every occasion, I want you to understand that it's totally fine. But we can't just be emotionally invested in other people's lives because we know that's going to be wasting our time. In a survey by mylife.com, it was reported that approximately 56% of social media users believe that they experience FOMO. Now, we know that social media has absolutely boomed in the past decade, and we've only been hyper-stimulated from all the content that we watch, all the YouTubers, all the famous people that we see, and obviously a lot of the times, at least normal people, believe that they aren't really affected by what other people do, like all these famous people, all the celebrities, because ultimately they're different to us. We don't really compare it with them. But when it comes to like our followers and people who are close to us, when we see them in holidays and vacations and stuff, we ultimately have this need of comparing ourselves to others. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you like, bro, don't compare yourself to others. It's okay. No, bro, don't worry. It's fine. And to them, I just want to say that it's actually quite normal to compare yourself to others. It's actually kind of like in the human psyche or whatever. But ultimately, you want to stay connected to others. And the reason why you want to do that is because you want to feel as if you've reached this satisfaction in yourself. But the issue is that when you are comparing yourself to others, we already assume in our brains that their lives are better than us. But in truth, we actually don't know what's going on in their lives. We're kind of watching like a picture perfect, a fabricated life on social media. Do you honestly think anyone is going to be posting their internal sufferings in social media? Well, the thing is, honestly, there's a lot of different kinds of people who are in social media. Other people will be, posting self-deprecating stuff or a lot of negative stuff that's going on in their lives, rants. And those kind of people, fair enough. I'm pretty sure you probably will feel better about yourself after viewing those. But the thing is, we normally don't do that. Most people don't like to showcase their negative bits, and that's totally fine. But what we need to stop is trying to believe that other people's lives are completely better than ours. So the thing is, we like to psyche ourselves in believing that everything is okay, so we have our, social circle. Imagine you got a social circle, and outside of that, you have, let's say in your social circle, you have your close friends, you have your family, etc. And in that circle, outside it, you have people who are kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily they're your friends, they're your acquaintances, for example. You kind of do see them on social media and you're like, oh yeah, I've met this guy maybe a few times, or he kind of posts quite a bit. I sometimes talk to them, but their lives seems like 10 times better than ours. They go partying, they go smoking and drinking, and we believe that, wow, you have so many cool things in your life. I'm so boring. All I do is wake up early and do these productive stuff. It's kind of the truth. In the book Happiness by Design by Peter Dolan, he explains that based on where you put your attention, happiness is determined by it. So let's say you allocate your attention to, well, this sounds quite obvious, doesn't it? If you allocate your attention to all the negative stuff, then it makes sense that you're not going to feel positive about it, right? Let's say you look at a bunch of hyper-stimulating content, a bunch of people who are, perfect on social media. They have their perfect bodies. They have their, they have their abs and their muscle and stuff like that. And we think to ourselves like, oh my gosh, their diet is so much better than ours. Why can't I have a body like him or her? And to be honest, the number one thing that I want you to remember, I will give the strategies in a second, is that it's the scarcity of things in our lives that makes us feel that FOMO. So I don't think I explained it properly. I'll say that again. When we have a scarcity of something, that's when we feel like we're missing out on it. So let's say you have a list of good things about you. You have a good body, you have good mental health, you have a good career. But let's say you're missing out on something, like let's say you don't do too many adrenaline-based activities. And you look at a bunch of people on Instagram and you're like, damn, he's doing so many cool, fearful activities that I haven't done. I haven't done those things. And then you kind of start to feel bad about yourself, and then you kind of force yourself to do that, even though you totally don't need to. It's because of that emotional response that we have in ourselves that makes us want to do that. We compare up with other people. It happens automatically. You can't, if you can control it, that means you have truly mastered not having FOMO, which I'm going to show you briefly. But essentially, that's what it is. You want to be able to control where you put your attention to in order to make sure that you don't have that FOMO response. All right, now I'm going to give you 3 key steps on how to overcome FOMO. I got 3 steps for you to overcome FOMO. The first 2 steps are pretty normal, as in like although you got to follow these 2 steps, the third one that I have, it's a little bit unconventional, but I'll start with the first one. And that is to have gratitude in your life. Now, gratitude is something that when a lot of people hear it, they're kind of just like, oh, bro, I don't really want to talk about it. Like, who really cares? Gratitude is just, yeah, I am thankful, but it doesn't really help. But you gotta not only have gratitude, you gotta practice gratitude. And instead of chasing like these fantasies that we see on social media and, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, especially your friends, for example. I know I've been talking a bit about people, like as in celebrities and stuff, but I want you to also mostly focus on your friends. If the events or outings that they have and you're not really invited, or let's say you don't go to them because of something, I want you to have a high level of gratitude. We already know that FOMO is the fear of not having something, and that's going to affect our well-being, isn't it? But what if we try to reverse that by having gratitude, by counting all the things that are positive in our lives? Let's say you're grateful that you have a really nice car or something like that. I don't know. Let's say you're grateful for your parents who've sacrificed so much in your lives, for your life. Let's say you're grateful for the shelter that you have. Think about other people who don't even have a roof on top of their head. People who don't even have food or water. Basic necessities. Think about those things. And then you've got to be very grateful for your life. To practice gratitude, it's pretty simple. You need to start journaling. And I'm going to make a separate video on how to exactly journal. Obviously, it varies from people to people, but I think I have mastered how to journal and how to have complete mindfulness in your life. So that's the first thing. It's having gratitude. Occasionally checking out your friends' stories on social media is pretty normal. But the next strategy that I want you to take is to focus on your own activities, on your own things, on your own to-do lists, and have a strict routine. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention is, personally, I've had this myself. When I see, this doesn't happen anymore, but it used to, when I would see friends enjoying themselves in like an occasion, like a party or something, I would look at those stories and I would kind of just tell myself, like, haha, these losers, they're having so much fun. Whereas I'm working hard, I'm going to be the successful one in the future. They're having fun, whereas I'm suffering and I'm going to be, strong and stuff like that. Now, I used to do that quite a bit in the past, and I got to say, it's not a good way to overcome FOMO. I didn't really treat the root cause of it. Instead, what I could have done was I could have focused on myself throughout a long period. Now, I'll talk about dopamine detox in another video, and how to stay focused for a long period of time. But just by looking at what other people are doing and then immediately just having like that idea in your brain that, okay, wow, I need to start working really hard because I'm gonna have a life like this. That's still comparing. You need to be able to focus on your own work even before you have that feeling of FOMO. Okay? So you got to be very consistent with your work. So that is strategy number 2. One other thing that I wanted to mention, and that's if you feel like you're not your perfect self, or how you portray yourself on the internet, then I want you to know that that kind of shows that you're a weak person. If you're unable to show like, my life isn't perfect, I'm doing this, or let's say, I have some kind of hiccup on my video, for example, which I did. I probably like recorded this like 5 or 10 times. This is like my 11th recording or whatever. But anyway, that's what you should do. You shouldn't portray yourself as this perfect thing because no one's perfect. Okay? So getting this FOMO feeling, I want you to know that you should, first of all, have gratitude in your life by practicing, fucking birds. I want you to understand that you should focus on yourself for a long period of time. And finally, I want you to give value to others in order to mitigate those issues of feeling loneliness. All right, so that's pretty much it for this video. I will be posting more content. I'll try to do a weekly on certain advice and certain things to give value to you guys. But yeah, that's it. If you liked my content, then please drop a like. And if you want to see more of my videos, then please subscribe. Thank you.